Hello, this is Melvin Ramon. Let's talk about music. First of all, I want to say thank you to those who have been already watching and supporting my videos. This is a new thing, getting excited about this. I have had a few up and already got a response. I had a subscriber within like 10 minutes of my first upload, Chaos and Comics. Formerly not a part of your scene. He does a great channel with a lot of cool music and video games. He's been cool. Blatant Localist, Vinyl in the Van, and Tales from the Crate have also commented or communicated with me, and I'm a fan of all three channels. All three are things I think do, you know, things that I show a lot of records that I like. Really like their channels. So I mean, I imagine if you're watching mine, you've already seen yours, but if you haven't, go ahead and check those out. So I got a few records, just kind of a big pile. Don't want to spend too long on each of them, but I did promise that I would slow down this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. This is the new record Guns by Quelle Chris. It is out on, I'm not sure what label it's on. Not much in the insides in this, and it's just on black vinyl. I think it is a hip-hop record. One of those guys, you know, he's a poet. He really he's saying a lot, kind of lo-fi beats. He's married to Jean Grey, who is one of my very favorite rappers. She does make an appearance on this. They did a record last year which called Everything's Fine, which was one of my very favorites of the year. I've given this a couple of spins so far, and I'm very pleased with it. I think it's going to be one of the better hip-hop records this year. Fantastic release. This is Zig Zags, They'll Never Take Us Alive. This is their third record. It is newly out. It is on, what is it? Black and Easy Records. This is, they are, as a band, connected with the scene with artists like Ty Segall and the OCs, kind of garage punk scenes. They describe their sound as punk fucking metal. It definitely, you know, kind of comes from a garage rock core, but it does sound a bit like other punk metal bands like Midnight, although I think you can see from the cover, aesthetically they aren't really metal, they're more garage rock, but sound-wise it definitely has, you know, kind of a lot of early thrash or speed metal going on. Quite a bit of it was reminding me of Kill 'Em All era Metallica, but a little less flashy. Definitely a good, hard driving, you know, metal punk area record, real good and heavy and real energetic. I only have spun it once thus far. I'm excited about it, but I enjoyed the heck out of their last couple of releases. It's just it's on green vinyl. Make sure I show that there. Get those labels, get the label in there a little bit. It is, I think there's an insert in here as well. As you can see, you know, more of a garage rock and then a metal aesthetic going on. If you're interested in that, in any of those kind of things, you might want to give this a check it out. I don't know how much it'll appeal to metal fans, like I said, because it doesn't really have the metal aesthetic, but I hope they do like it, because I like it a lot. This is, next one here is Death Valley Girls, Glow in the Dark. I think I might have shown them in a previous video. They are a mostly, I think, female band. I think there's one male member. They do, or was, they do, it's kind of a garage rocky, crampsy, gun clubby kind of sound. Little bit of a tinge of gothness, I would say. This is on some ugly clear with a green splatter vinyl. It sounds great though. I think this is the better of the two records I have by them, at least from a couple of listens. Definitely excited. I just kind of learned about them a little while ago, and I really like this. Really great sound. This next one, moving right along, is Heavy Days by Jeff the Brotherhood. I believe this is the 4th pressing of the record, although they were all pretty small pressings on a small label within a relatively short amount of time. It's on black. You don't need to see that. These guys are a garagey, rocky kind of band. It's a 2-piece. They are brothers. Neither is named Jeff. They have done some stuff with Third Man Records, played in the backgrounds in some of the Third Man releases. It's kind of a little bit heavy, kind of jammy a little bit. It reminds me in some ways of Dinosaur Jr. It's an indie rock sound. I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to call them garage. Some of their later releases started getting a little power poppy, almost sounding like a heavier Weezer. And then they moved into kind of a krautrocky kind of more psychedelic sound. Those later ones I really enjoy, and these earlier ones that aren't quite as poppy I like a lot. Although I've liked every record I've heard by them, and I think this is the 7th or 8th one I've bought. So definitely a band I can recommend to anyone of that sort of sound. Next up here is a reissue of Crossings by Herbie Hancock. This is out on Superior Viaduct Records. It's a reissue label. They have been doing kind of a lot of really great stuff. They've done about the first 7 albums by The Fall, some records by I'm thinking of, there's like 100 of them coming through. They did a Joe McPhee record last year. The Flesh Eaters, that's who I was trying to think of. So a lot of cool, punk and crazy jazz stuff. This is one of Herbie Hancock's records from the mid-70s, leading up to about the time he was going to, he made Headhunters, kind of coming from, he was real heavily influenced by that Post Bitches Brew Miles Davis sound. There's a lot of percussion on that, kind of a lot of wild sounds. One of my favorite records by him. I really, really like that record. And definitely, once again, recommend it. This is another reissue on the same label of Marion Brown, 3 for Shep. This is a free jazz record from sometime in the early 70s. I'm kind of a sucker for free jazz. You're going to find a lot of people out here on the YouTube that are a lot better at articulating what's great about it. I always put it on. There's just really intense energy, even on the mellower cuts of it, a little less chaotic. That's got. It felt to me like a little bit of a soul vibe to it too. That might just kind of be me, projecting something on it. But I really, really enjoyed that record, and once again, that Superior Viaduct label is just fantastic. I wouldn't necessarily say perfect pressings, but good enough, and they do a lot of really, really good stuff. This next one up here it's got a hole punch in it. It's Last Exit. It's a free jazz album from the 80s featuring Sonny Sharrock, Peter Brotzman, Bill Laswell, and the drummer's name is Ronald Shannon Jackson. I always forget his name. I know I've got a few things with him on it. This was Bill Laswell wanted to put together basically a heavy metal version of jazz. That's essentially what this is. It's crazy, it's heavy, lots of wild sounds on here. I mean, if you know Sonny Sharrock and Peter Brotzman, I think you might expect nothing less, but just a fantastic album, fantastic jazz record. I really, really like it. This one I haven't played yet. I just picked it up a few hours ago. This is an EP, Wolf Eyes and Sickness. There is a part of me that you will never know is the title. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, but I'm expecting, with it being Wolf Eyes, to be kind of angry, intense noise. They are actually from this area, so I've seen them in small venues numerous times and opening for artists like Negative Approach and the Meatmen and Sonic Youth. Some of their shows have been absolute mind blowers. Others, I think they've, it's kind of just seems like they're noodling, but they put out a lot of stuff, and their best shows are just absolutely fantastic. And for something to put on while I'm reading, to really bring some energy into the room, or something to just kind of sit down and maybe get a sip of whiskey and just kind of clear the mind to. Their records are fantastic. It's electronic noise. It's kind of formless, but also it does have a there's a progression in the sound. It's amazing stuff. I really like that band. Up next here is Ragin' Full On by Firehose. This is the band formed. This is, I believe, an original pressing on SST Records from 1987. This is the band that was formed by Mike Watt and George Hurley after the end of the Minutemen. It was actually formed by a guy named Ed, who went out and kind of dragged them along. They weren't really interested in doing another band, or weren't feeling doing another band, but he kind of got them fired up. They made about 4 or 5 records. I think nearly as good as the Minutemen. Just a fantastic, kind of some folky elements, but kind of post-punky, post-hardcore, sound. You can tell where they were coming from. Real thoughtful lyrics, a lot of energy, and of course just the fantastic rhythm section there. This next one is Thomas Jefferson's Slave Apartments, straight to video. This is the second album I've owned by them. I think it was their 3rd overall. They are from, I believe, Columbus, Ohio. I think I might have talked about them in a previous video, but it's kind of a garagey, rocky thing. Just kind of grabbed that. I think actually I did talk about it. Funny lyrics, great band. Definitely should be checked out. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, that's nothing everybody doesn't know about, but this is Nirvana in Utero. This is the Steve Albini mix. I kind of stumbled into a good price on this today. This is from the 2013 mix. You know what you think about Nirvana. I know what I think about Nirvana. There's not really a lot to talk about there. I do kind of have a fascination with that album in particular because of the production. I think it's, as a producer, some of Steve Albini's most well-realized work. It's, I think, probably of all the projects where he had a lot of money to work with, the artist that was, most sort of in line with his kind of thinking about music. So, and I think it really shows, without sacrificing any rawness, everything is clear. You can hear the band very, very well. And I really like the sounds and the songs on that record. That's all I got for today. It's another video. Still, working on improving the lighting and the sound and all that. We'll see how this one looks when I get it up there on the TV and all that. I really appreciate everyone viewing, and the few people who've subscribed and have been watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm gonna let it go right now, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.